Hey there, folks. How you doing today? Normally, we do this daily financial news in front of a whiteboard. Unfortunately, the internet gremlins got me this morning, and for some reason, we can't do our normal live stream. Hopefully, you guys can hear me out there. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late, but let's get into the news. We're going to talk about Robert Schiller and the housing crash prediction. We are going to talk about the Dow Industrial being up 11 days in a row. We're going to talk about Elizabeth Warren and a bunch of other goodies. Again, folks, I apologize. The internet gremlins got me this morning. We usually do this in front of a whiteboard. I tried it twice. No bueno. So we're going to give this a shot this morning. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. So let's get into the news. Let's start with a Fortune article by Lance Lambert. Lance Lambert interviewed Robert Schiller recently. And if you don't know who Robert Schiller is, he is part of the CaseShiller index. Robert Schiller is most credited with calling the housing crash in 2006. He called it early and was obviously right. What is he calling now? Right? We have seen the housing market go up roughly 43%. Robert is calling for a sideways market. He basically is saying the 10 years of appreciation is over. Basically, demand has been pulled forward. One of the things I loved about the article is Robert and Lance really dropped a nugget that I had not thought about, that I think we should think about. It is actually an economic principle that we can talk about. There's something in economics called pull forward demand. Basically, there's incentive or beliefs going on, and you need to pull that forward. So what Robert is pointing out, and maybe it's true, I have to think about it, that with the perceived or known, depending on how you want to look at it, rise in interest rates, that people bought early because they thought they would be priced out later. If that is true, what you will often see is a vacuum, a gap, an air pocket, because you've basically pulled forward demand that naturally would have fell in a future period. Those air pockets, those gaps, they don't fall, they don't happen a lot. They're not forever, but it certainly could impact months and perhaps quarters if this proves to be true. I do think it's an interesting idea. I think it is worth considering. The thing that I am thinking about the most is the marginal buyer. That's who I am thinking about, right? We're in the market every day. On this channel, we talk to 10 different real estate professionals every week. And it is pretty clear, I think, that interest rates matter. We are seeing 7% stop demand. We have seen 6% reignite demand. So if, again, we keep rates higher for longer, right? Maybe we keep rates at or about 7% for 90 days, 6 months. That is going to create a lot of marginal demand when we get to next season's selling season. So these are things that economists are thinking about. What is the trade-off between the affordability with lower rates, can be called the marginal demand, and what is the impact of pull forward, as Robert Schiller talks about? Again, I think both are likely true. The question is, will one, be over the other or not? So again, I think that was a wonderful article. You can go to Fortune. You can Google Lance Lambert. Of course, you can follow him at News Lambert on Twitter, which I highly recommend if you have interest in real estate. Let's talk about foreclosures. You are undoubtedly going to hear from the doomers and crash bros that foreclosures are rising. I have brought you lots of actual data. I've uncovered and researched some more. Let's compare the top 5 worst foreclosure cities today with 2009. All right, are you ready? So Atlantic City, New Jersey is the worst. 6.8 homes out of 10,000. 6.8 out of 10,000. If you want a percentage, that is 0.068%. It's barely above 0.5%. And that is the worst city in the country. It is followed by Florence, South Carolina, New Haven, Connecticut, Baltimore, Maryland, and Mobile, Alabama. So again, without context, it is easy to be scared, to let the doomers win. So if the doomers want to call this the next Great Recession, let's have a conversation about what happened in 2009. In 2009, for the country, this is not Atlantic City, New Jersey, which is the worst city. This is the country. Write that down, the country. 1 in 45 homes across the country got some type of foreclosure notice. 1 in 45. Okay, great. Now, Michael, I'm confused. I don't know the scale. One is talking about 10,000. One is talking about 45. Help me understand what is going on. Great. I did the math for you. Again, today, the worst city on the planet, or at least in the United States, is Atlantic City at 6.8 out of 10,000. In 2009, for the country, it was 222 out of 10,000. Now the scale is even. In 2009, we had 222 out of 10,000. Today in Atlantic City, we have 6.8. There is absolutely no comparison. Nevada, as a state, had 10% of homes go into foreclosure, not 0.068%. So again, foreclosures are up. It was essentially illegal to do them. I believe banks have learned forbearance works, and we're going to move forward. So again, when you look at foreclosure stats and people quote percentages, let's not forget what is really, really going on. So again, something else we got today was the Case-Shiller index. Remember, folks, this data is old. This data is for May. We're almost in August, but this data is from May. Case-Shiller index did come in with a negative year-on-year. I believe that is 2 months in a row. It might be 3. Negative year-on-year is 0.5% year-on-year. We are, in fact, 1% below the June peak, which is quite interesting. We will undoubtedly have another negative print next month. But after that, it's going to get pretty interesting. I think we're going to start to show some positive numbers. Did you know that in the last 6 months, we are up 2.9%? And from April to May, if you like month-on-month numbers, we are up 1.2%. Next up, Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren said something that I agree with. I have to tell you, I'm not sure I would ever say that. Seriously, I don't think I would ever say that. But I did, and I mean it. I agree with Elizabeth Warren. Let me say that black and white. Elizabeth Warren said another rate hike could be devastating for the economy. I agree, and I've said it for the last 3 weeks. I believe a Fed rate hike tomorrow will ultimately be seen as a mistake. I believe if the Fed left good enough alone, they could hold rates higher for longer for probably 18 months. 18 months. I believe Jerome Powell and the Fed are going to break something. So how do I measure a mistake? Well, let's assume they raise tomorrow, which again, according to Taylor from Life Goal Investments, is a 99.8% probability. That's a 99.8, man. That's crazy. But what we have is a cut in the next 9 months. So if they raise tomorrow, July 26th, we will see a Fed rate cut in 9 months or less. That is how you and I will know if it was a mistake or not. Next up, I don't know if you saw this recently, but Patrick Bet-David has retreated, walked back, changed his opinion about a housing crash. You might remember on this channel, I think it was 6 months ago, I took exception. Lots of folks. Patrick Bet-David was not alone. People were getting very bearish in January And lots of people were calling for a housing crash of 5, 10, 20%. In fact, in my 12 predictions from January 2nd, one of them was the bears would retreat and reverse their decision. Patrick Bet-David has recently done that. He's acknowledged that, yes, transactions have crashed, but prices haven't. This is what you and I have been talking about for at least 9 months. Folks, if you haven't downloaded my 53-year spreadsheet, which you can get at my website, onerentalatatime.com, I have no idea why you haven't. It is free. It is a view of the economy since 1970. And important to point out, there is a tab that lists all of my sources. I grabbed, or I should say we, because I had somebody else, John, help me create this, put it together. So Mike and John create this. We list all our sources. This is not garbage data. The sources are there. That one spreadsheet is how I called a housing crash in transactions and flat prices. If you have not downloaded that, you're missing out. It is kind of a, I don't know, a puzzle solver or whatever you call that thing, a cheat sheet. Is it a cheat sheet for what is going on today? So onerentalatatime.com, it's the lower right corner. I think there's 8 boxes. Go get it. All you got to do is put in your email and then it emails you right away. Did you know, I talked about this with Taylor from Life Goal Investments yesterday, that the Dow Industrial average is up 11 days in a row as of yesterday? Here's the problem. Or at least, I don't know if it's a problem yet. It's an interesting data point. The record for most up days in a row is 13. We're currently at 11. I haven't checked this morning because I've been stressed about getting this going. The record is 13. And unfortunately, that happened in January of 1987. January of 1987. If you don't know what happened later in the year of 1987, you should go check it out. We had a pretty significant crash. So again, go check that out. Not saying we'll have one. It's just very interesting to look at. A couple of things I want to shout out. First and foremost, I don't know if you've seen it yet this morning, but the team at Think Media, I want to shout out the team at Think Media. They were gracious enough to interview me a few weeks ago. That video posted this morning. We talk about my routine, the daily financial news, this video. Some of you might be watching this from the Think Media podcast. I want to let you know, normally this is front of a whiteboard. Normally this is done live. This is live. I know the sound is off. It's not perfect every time, but you just keep it going. You don't let the technology get in the way. You just press record. Again, this is live. You can hear me stutter and all of that. If you want to see Sean Cannell interview me and talk about one rental at a time, not editing, all of that, you can check them out at Think Media. Also, Ryan Pineda interview. Thank you for all that watched it. I think it's up to 55,000 or so. Gracious for you. We are hosting an event on August 13th that is entirely free. I want to answer a question that I got a lot at a recent meetup. What would Olivia and I do today? Again, we open that up to 500 folks. I'm using my personal Zoom account, and that's my limit. In 2 days, we have registered over 300 folks. There is a chance that that is full up today. It might fill up in 3 days. So I will put the link below again. Go ahead and take a look, register. It's going to be exactly what I would do. It's 2 hours, Sunday, August 13th. At the end of the day, folks, thank you so much. I am sorry that this didn't go off as clean as it usually does. I know a lot of folks may have come from Think Media. Sometimes technology gets in the way and you just got to keep rolling. I will check the sound. If it's okay, I won't record another one. If it turns out to be something I'm not happy with, I will record another one and post it later in the day. Thank you, everyone. Like, subscribe, comment, and please check out this video about yesterday's daily financial news with some editing. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.